All right.
Oh, hi.
Welcome to
English.
another,
We're talking English,
yeah.
of course.
Welcome to another episode of
Hi,
Tzuzamen. Hi,
Tzili.
Tzipi.
Wow. Yeah, hi,
Hi,
Tzili.
Ronnie.
Ronnie K. For you, it's
Ronnie
Ronnie
K.
K. And we are very happy to be here. And I don't know if Ronnie knows, but we are meeting people, only people that can send us to the moon with our
No, we
mind.
stay here. We were
So
on the moon
A
already.
lot of pressure, but I'll do my
yes,
best.
it's not. We are not. We're only
We trust
talking.
you.
We're
It's
talking.
okay.
We're talking. 3 women and gorgeous. Yeah, 2 gorgeous. Okay, now can you please introduce our
What about
gorgeous
Tzipi? I'm
guest?
not gorgeous.
I don't know what you think about this and this. What gorgeous what? And I'm younger than the 2 of you. Like you.
We see.
Yeah. Look here and
Very
here.
good.
Oh my
This
God.
is very good. You know what's the best thing about COVID? The mask.
Oh, so now she's talking. Are you talking to me? Oh my
No, I'm
God.
talking to myself. You look excellent. Let me see.
Thank you so much. So much.
They're
I'm going to sit
beautiful.
like this and I'm going to be happy. So please, can you introduce our
Ronnie K. A film director, TV director, teaching at NYU at the film department.
My colleague.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie. And I think we are going to start as 3 women who are independent, as independent can be, maybe.
Okay.
I would like to ask you what
maybe, no, maybe.
Not maybe, but I want to ask you actually, what do you think of the Me Too movement?
I think the Me Too is one of the best things that happened to women in the past century, I would say, or in the past few years, since it put out front things that women were afraid to talk about and things that women, remain secret, not even with friends. You know, the funny thing is we have a parliament of women, just like really close friends. Yes. I'm going a little bit. I'm giving you side stories.
We are the parliament. Okay.
We have a parliament of our own. Has nothing to do with each other, but just a little bit of background. I used to be a guy's girl. All my friends since I was a little girl are guys, boys. My best friends are boys all through the years, and I do have girlfriends, but they're very independent, strong. And only in the past few years, I actually connected between all of them and we began having a women's parliament. And I discovered the wonderfulness of friendship with women. I think that in a certain age, we also...
certain age, talk for yourself.
I'll tell you, when I was young, I'll find the age thing. With a certain wisdom comes the understanding that women can support and be good to each other in ways that I don't think we understood when we were younger.
Right.
I used to be very much a boys' girl. The boys were always there for me. I was always their best friends, and women had some sort of competition that I didn't even want to get into. But I think that as we all got wiser and we discovered the beautiful support that we can give each other, I think that's also what Me Too came out of, when women started supporting each other and giving each other a hand in order to empower each other. It's very, very difficult to be alone in this situation. And I started talking about this parliament because not long ago we said and we started talking, and these are my friends I'm not disclosing my age, but some of them are my friends for over 20 years. So we know each other very, very, very well. However, we started telling stories none of us knew about each other, what happened in our childhood or throughout the years, things that all of us, and I mean all of us, there are eight to 10 women in this parliament. All of them are the most amazing, independent, career-oriented, strong, famous women. None of them are the type of woman that you think would be afraid to say or to talk her piece or to say something that went over her. Yet in this specific meeting, we discovered about each other things that I never knew. And I'm telling you, these are my closest friends for so long. that it's almost unthinkable that this never became part of our conversation.
I just want to mention that Ronnie was born in the United States, but grew up in Israel, and she now spending her time between New York and Tel Aviv. And it's and I'm saying it because it's a mixed culture, because the relations, the American relations are not exactly like the Israeli relations.
But she came back when she was 3 years old, so.
It doesn't matter. It has part of the whole structure in the girls' world and in the boys' world. It's very mixed, yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to tell you something. Just to tell you, I don't think that you're referring only to this aspect of growing up as women, but we are talking a lot because we came from square dizing of both of us, and the amount of sexual abuse. Yeah. And we couldn't talk.
Unbelievable.
We couldn't talk, but it also, it's unbelievable.
Everything took place.
We talked about stories that took place when we were kids, when we were older, even in our 20s, even in our 30s.
Right.
Okay. And things that some of it I remember very clearly, and some of it only in this conversation I started remembering because we brushed it off as nothing, because it was like, you know, part of the behavior, part of something that was common everywhere. I think that what Me Too did is gave a lot of strength to women, knowing, first of all, you're not alone in this, and second, to raise their voice.
But listen, however, I don't think it's true for a woman who works in a factory.
Oh, I
agree about women like us. The bubble. I think Me Too is a bubble.
Even women like us, many of them are shameful. They think it's better to keep it to themselves. Still don't come out with everything, right?
I have to tell you that I had a conversation with my mother about someone who came out on television and said something about someone who abused her after he died. And when they started praising him, then she came out and said, well, this is not the case. And my mom, which is a very powerful, strong woman, she raised me. I admire her. She always was a career woman. She was like, you know, the head of the family, the godfather, so to say. And I was extremely surprised when she said to me, I don't understand why she needs to bring it up. He's dead, he's gone, what's wrong with her? Maybe she's just saying things. And I'm like, and I had a conversation with her, and I'm like, why would you think that? I mean, I'm telling you this story, and I told her a story about me now. And also someone who passed away and they praised him on TV. And I have to tell you, that made me so crazy. I wanted to get up and say something, because you can't think of him as a good man who empowered women, who gave him jobs in his films while he was doing what he was doing on the side. Only then she realized what I was talking about. So I think it's also a matter of generation. You know, different generations are used to different things. I want to tell you that I think that right now, my daughter will never suffer from it, but I cannot count on it. I really cannot count on it. No. And I'll tell you something else. I have two more things to say. Well, first of all, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think the system needs to change, and the Me Too is just, you know, it's a movement, but it's not a solution. Mm-hmm. So we will talk about the solution in a minute. But before I say that, I just want to say that there was a case that happened now of a student that harassed another student in the class. Not in Israel. Not in Israel, where I teach.
But also in Israel.
Also in
15
Israel.
15 years old is now on trial for raping. 3 of his peers.
Yes, I know the kid through friends, so it's shocking. However, I must say that I don't think the system is treating it right to begin with. Not here, not in the US. My girl that got harassed, that I was with her hand in hand through the process, almost got prosecuted herself. Right. Which means, well, you think he followed you. This is what they told her. But the fact that you think he followed you, what do you mean you think if he followed her from school to her apartment without talking to her, just following her? So to saying, like, investigating her in a way within the system, the fact that you think he followed you doesn't mean anything. Or telling her, and there were more cases of girls that because she was treated like that, were afraid to come forward.
Yes.
And they told her, the only way for us to really confront him is to have you confront him with your name, with your this. She told me, well, you know what? I don't think the system can do anything for me. I want to let it go. I'm afraid. I'm scared. And I don't want the rest of the girls who support me to come forward as well, because I don't want them to go through what I'm going through.
Yeah,
And
possible
it's
to come.
shocking
Yeah.
to me. And what's more shocking to me is the fact that, and it devastates me,
So what is
that
the
I
solution?
wasn't able. Well, the thing is this, let's start from the beginning. The fact that I wasn't able to do something for her from within the system, but just as a person, as a loving woman who mentors her, so to say, I did my best. But from within the system, if nothing's being done, and nothing is being done from within the system, nothing is being done with the school of this guy in Israel, nothing is being done in
This
the
is not
US
true.
from
You're
within
going to
the
get it
system.
because tell you something. Wait, he's going to get punished, but the reason is because so many girls were not even offended. I mean, they were just friends, came out. A mess of girls.
That's the
This is
power
maybe
of
the
women
solution.
coming together. But what happened if one woman comes up and the rest of the women are afraid to support because
That's the
she was
problem.
getting attacked? So something within the system is rotten to begin with.
I'm speaking about.
But there's something else that is taking place, because when we were those ages as kids, when things were done and girls didn't say a word, didn't come to you, didn't help you, were looking and just staying quiet. Today, they do come, they do support, they do open their mouth, and they do tell the truth about what took place for them. But the thing is that I don't know why it takes so long for the system to change. How many kids and how many women need to reveal and get hurt before something is done?
I want to be provocative. I think the norm of what it means to be a man didn't really change much.
No,
I agree with that.
That's
And
what
that's
the problem.
What men
it's
do
our
today.
fault too, because
Yes.
we're still playing for men.
Right.
We're still
That's
playing
true.
for men. It's something built in the system. And, you know, I don't think that even many women are aware that basically they trigger men without even, let's say they don't mean it, but they mean it. And it's a game that it's very hard to get rid of. I'm talking about very general way. And it's so complicated, and still the system is run by men. And as long as we collaborate, as long as we collaborate and we think that everything should be playing for them, you know, there's one big difference between us and the elephants, because, you know, the elephants live the same way. Yeah. They live as long as we are. They live in a tribe of women and kids, but the boys are living at 15. And each one is going by himself someplace, and they come only, you know, when they need more babies. But family is only.
So they come back for sex.
It's only for women and girls. In our society, the men stay. Yeah. We are groups of women, and we are coming for sex, but the men stay. And after 15, when the men stay, this is where all the problems start. But we are part of it. And it's we cannot come out and say it's only their fault. There's something in the structure of the society that has to work on both sides and change. So it's too big to change.
Yeah, it's very
too big to change.
It starts with today, you know, people started to say that, you know, our president took a female to be his
advisor.
Military. Military advisor, right? So they were talking about, oh, she broke the glass ceiling. What glass ceiling? She's not fighting. Let's say she was fighting, but she's not. She's sitting in the office and she's representing, you know, I don't know exactly all her duties.
That's ridiculous.
So they are still talking about women are breaking the glass ceiling. Oh my God, what?
Part of the definition, once we define certain things, we already create the problem. Because once you say we need, for the first time, a woman president, why do you make a deal out of it? Just get a president. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman.
Good president.
That's right. We have women presidents and leaders forever. And we're talking about the United States and they still bullshit. It's really the way we present things. And I think that people don't pay attention. It's like when we talk about the film, we need more women to do films. We need good films, whether it's men or women. It would be great if women will be able to do more, but this takes us to another section of why to look at women as a problem, because they raise kids and they have other things to do and they have to take care of homes. So there's so many little angles into the whole dish, and you have to take care of the big picture.
But I must admit something, okay? So I am with the same man since I am 17 and a half or so. Yes, I must admit. We have 3 kids. Now, I wanted to in my case, to finish school, to do PhD, to make films, to make this, to make this. I worked very hard to stay with these limits of what is expecting from me as a woman and a wife and a mother. So I got a lot of shaming, people telling me, what kind of a mother you are, going to make films, but I must admit, I worked very hard to stay in the lane, not to walk the boat on my life.
Right.
And I don't know, and now when I look at that, I don't have the right answer. If I will walk the boat.
I think there's a right answer. I think it's very individual. I think each and every person can do whatever they want to do, whatever they aspire to do, but I don't think there should be limitations on what you want or aspire to do because of your gender. But if you look at most industries, whether it's film, whether it's the law industry, whether it's the medical industry, it's all ran by men.
Right.
All the big heads are men, whether it's political, most of the people in the big jobs are men.
Also in the studios.
I think we should start with educating everyone, women and men both, about equality. Right. I think it should start there. It should start from the bottom, because I think that my aspiration, my fantasy would be a world where you can just take someone because they're good, because they're best for the job.
But Ronnie, it's not enough. It's not enough only to educate it, because parallel to this, you have to to establish a system that would support it.
Exactly.
So, when I studied in the art school, in the first or second year, we already had girls who were about to get married or just had children, and we all talked about the need of having a kids solution in the system. Maybe we should have like an area for the babies, and somebody would babysit them, that everybody would play babysitter while they take it.
But who talked about it, Tzili? Who talked about it? Women, because they felt the need.
Only the girls. The system basically need to come up with solutions. So it's not a problem for anybody. Why should it be a problem to have children? And
I think if you educate them and if you put more women in position of powers, and yes, there's nothing.
They don't give you women in power. Don't really listen. Let's start from the beginning. NYU, the faculty that we both teach, now they have 50% women and female who come to the school.
But you still don't.
Most of them wants to be director when they enter the school. Go and count how many think that they want to be a director at the end of the school. So but in the first year, when they have the first directing class, they form groups of 4, right? Crews of 4, right? In every crew, women are not even expected by the peers, the males, to be a cameraman, camerawoman. They resent that they have the school required that they will direct, They can be producers, good producers. They can be wardrobe. They can do hair style, you know.
Yeah.
So it starts from the first semester in school, and we have
I agree.
incredible difficulties to change it.
I want to tell you that this class that I had now, out of 24 students, 18 women, that was the first, I think, ever. I want to tell you that these 18 wonderful women started the class wanting to be hair, makeup, editor, sound at the most. 18 women finished the class wanting to be the director, lighting director, DP, director of photography.
They will find difficulties to become directors. I'm telling
But
you, because look at the industry, 4% in the United States.
4% in the past decade. In the past decade, the percentage of women director, film and TV put together is stuck on 4%.
I told you, yeah.
4%.
4%.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I agree with Tzili that it should be the best person for the job, right? And the same, by the way, the best man for the job. That's the original say, but let's change it, the best person for the job. But once you start a revolution of any sort, there's nothing to do but to push forward extra, which means, yeah, if there is a man and a woman that have the same credentials now, pick your ass and choose the woman, because we need it. I'm not saying she's less, but if they do have...
Ronnie, if you think about one step earlier, women
Yes.
think about what would be good for their lives. And I'm not talking about few, I'm talking about general.
Right.
When I was younger, most women went to be teachers because it's easier, because the vacations are with the kids, you know, everything. Right.
Right.
All the girls at the hospitals that used to work on in all the therapies were girls, especially Orthodox, because it was easier to handle life with this. This is not a reason to do it. This is not the right reason to choose occupation. You have to choose occupation from your heart and for your abilities, not because it goes well with life, you know? So, and once the system is not allowing and not putting a platform of the right direction of every job,
every aspect,
we won't be able to change anything. It has to work together. Everything has to work together. Not the education.
You know, we had
position of power, finding solutions within the system.
But look, there were so many women, head of studios, but they were accountable to the men, even they're just a little bit below them. They didn't hire women directors. It's
because a problem. They gave up many of the aspects of their life and they created a problem.
No, I don't know how many years ago, but
the biggest harassments I got on my job during the years were from women and non-men about, let's have a production meeting at 9 p.m. I said, or at 7 p.m. I'm like, I can have it 9 p.m., 7 to 9, I want to be with my daughter. I'm not with her all day long. You know how many women have told me, it's your problem that you decided to have a career and have babies. That's a woman saying. That's why I'm saying we need to educate everybody. Yes. We need to open the system for everybody. In a way, also the system to give solutions, then I don't have to choose either or. That I
once
can
you present, doesn't matter in what field, even as a woman, once you present a guy and a girl, you already, to avoid problems, will choose the guy. And you would say to the girl, listen, you have to make a choice. Why to make the choice?
Exactly.
Listen, when I came to Israeli television, after I finished
a sentence about this, and I want to hear a story. The guys today, after Me Too, by the way, there's a trend where a lot of men are even more afraid to hire women.
Yes.
Because why do we need, you know, what am I putting myself into? So there's so many things to take care of. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but listen, so before we go to what you say, just to tell you, when I came to Israeli television after I finished school in the States, I came to the head of the director branch. He was sitting with his leg up. And he said, Maidele, which is even lower than sweetie.
Sweetie.
Yeah.
Maidele, are you married? I said, of course. What do you mean, of course? Yeah, I was like 24, 5. And I said, of course, I have 2 children. So he said, so what do you need it? Go to the kitchen, cook to your kids. He was not even thinking twice. However, I want to tell you something. Me Too didn't include in parentheses. Let's define what is sexual harassment.
Exactly.
If a guy comes and hug me too tight so he can feel my whatever, right? Or whatever, this is not a rape. We have to be careful not to destroy men's life for them. Even if they say you are gorgeous, they can sue him, you know? I called a man, by the way, in my department, I called him, you know, you are gorgeous in the school, in the university, and said, you know, I can sue you.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, you know, we have to be careful, and we are not. We are not careful.
We also have to be careful not to ruin it and not to use it as a weapon against men.
Right.
Because that would be the other side of it. And so many men now don't want to hire women. So this is a time of a big, big, big confusion.
Yes.
Both on men and women's side. And I think we need to clean table and start from the beginning. And this is why I'm saying education. Because
it's very hard to put the line between use and abuse. Very hard to get the line.
Well, first of all, like you said, there's so many aspects to take care of, whether it's within the system, whether it's education, whether it's all over each and every industry, whether it's to give solutions of how you can have career and a life and a mother. There's so many solutions to be given here, whether it's...
It was very difficult, you know that, you know, but a difference, I don't know if I can reveal, you know, I wanted to talk to you about being a single mother, which is very difficult.
That's okay.
Very difficult. But I just want to tell you, it was so difficult for me, you know, to still stay now in the business and try to make films. I cannot give up. It's my soul, right?
Exactly.
And it's becoming more difficult, not because of age.
That only people like you and me, that this is their dream and it's like do or die for them, will probably say even though. But a lot of women, I mean, how can it be that our classes for a couple of years now have 50-50 men and women, or for quite a few years?
Yes.
And I mean, here even I had so many more, and still for the past decade, we're stuck on 4%.
Well, they are now sophomore. They are sophomore, right? They are sophomore or freshmen. Sophomore. Give them 2 more years. 2 more years. They will sit down and calculate: is it worth it? The life of being a director. Always the question: price. You know how much you pay and what you get. Rewards and price, right? And they get to a point that they get away.
Position of power, you need to give them solutions and incentive as well.
Who?
Also, if the system would have given me a help with caring for my daughter, if the pay is the same as men, if my options are as open to anyone, just like they're open for the men next to me, if the pay
cannot wait for the system. You know, we cannot count on the system. We have to, well, like you are talking about it. Somehow the Me Too, good start. Now take the Me Too and make it logical in terms of what does it mean abuse and what does it mean harassment and then take it and use it by women to start to ask, you know, we cannot wait for system, men. I don't think
Listen, when I moved to the States and I wanted to work, and women told me, why do you take our jobs? You have somebody to support you.
Yes.
And I was so surprised. And, you know, in one hand, it's true. If I take their place, they cannot do the job. On the other hand,
if anyone goes on anybody else's place, I think
that's right. But the reason, why do you take our place when you have somebody to support you? Go home.
That's the thinking. That's the thinking.
That's the thinking. And it's true. It's like 30 years ago, but it's still there.
Yes.
Still there.
So we think the same, that it has to come from within the movement. We can use the Me Too, but we have to shape it in the right direction and not let it be all over the place. Listen, Tzili, I just want to make sure that we little bit talk about her as a filmmaker.
Sure.
Because there are a few things with me that are very interesting. Because in the, unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I don't want to judge. Everything I do in films and stuff, it's usually either the Holocaust or the conflict, sometimes battered women, a little bit, that's it. Now I look at your resume and you like, so, you spread so many.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, but this is a negative.
No, not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. So I wonder, okay, because why do you pick up a story? I'll give you an example. According to what we talk right now, right? You, for example, did a film about Tzipi Livni, who was supposed to be a prime minister at the end, right? But you talk about the dream and the disappointment.
Right.
So, the question is, for example, or you did about motherhood, right?
Yes.
Or you did about, also, I wonder how much you come from questions that bother you.
I'll explain. Every time I'm creating, it's all about making an impact. Ever since I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a director because for me, the director was the one with the say, the one that leads, the one that
I didn't even know what it is.
What's in their heads, right? And for me, it's all about making an impact. So I was using my talent or abilities or skills in everything that I could or would touch to find the story for me that makes an impact, whether, first of all, on me, that changes something in me or reveals something from me, and definitely to make an impact for the viewers. Tzipi Livni, for example, the reason that I wanted to make this film is because when she was running to be the Israeli prime minister, the very first articles in the media, magazines, whatever, was all about the skirt she was wearing, what she looked as today, how come she comes dressed like this to this. And it drove me crazy because she's a smart woman and she has a lot to say. So I actually invited her for coffee and she said, no, never, nobody ever does films with me. I don't like it, this and that. And I explained to her where I come from and why this matters to me so much. So she agreed to let me be with her 24/7 with a camera for 5 years everywhere. And I'm talking everywhere in a way that I know, state secrets. But that meant a lot to me. A woman in such a manly world, how she deals with it and how people around her, including her voters, have a difficulty even listening to her.
Yeah, but they win it. She had to go away. She had to go away.
Well, that's on a different scale, but my film was very much on a woman in a man's world and how she deals with all the comments, how she needs to avert the conversation to actually political issues and not being treated just, oh, it's a woman who's trying to make it. That was the reason for that. So every time.
The same order Shulamit Aloni, because I did her campaign once, and because she was perceived as aggressive. And that's it. Whatever she did, human rights and everything that she did she was so-called aggressive.
Right. If it was speaking about the same things, would he have perceived as being aggressive or just maybe as a compliment?
That's right. Yeah. So what I mean is that when we are talking about women and becoming even a model, because she was a model, right? She was an example of a woman who went and, but until today, that's because maybe I didn't do the research. I'm very upset that she didn't become prime minister, by the way, like Hillary. I don't know about other people, Hillary Clinton.
I agree. Right? Look, I was never a feminist, so to say. I mean, if you asked me until a few years ago, I would have said, I never had a problem. I just did what I wanted to do. I didn't, pay attention to the men who didn't give me the respect I thought I deserved. I just went for it and I made it and I did it. And if you want it, you can make it. in the past few years, when I opened my eyes more, and especially when I came to New York a few years ago, and I saw how they looked at me as different creatures, so to say. I mean, people looked at my resume as like, oh my God, a woman director who's done so much. I'm like, let me, research it a bit. Why are you even looking at it as such a big deal? Only then I realized, because I admit I lived my life just, focusing and doing what I do and succeeding to the best of my abilities. And I didn't feel like I was given obstacles by the men around me, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to look at it.
Yeah, but a lot of your films,
What?
a lot of your documentaries are dealing with struggles that in many cases very hard to overcome. Like you did, how you say this, טיפול נמרץ.
I see you.
I see you, which, we don't know. You did about Down syndrome. We did about the mother of Ronna Rod, that, when you're going to stop waiting, right? You know what I mean? Batya Rod, right? You did about...
Ronna Rod was the navigator,
right,
that was captured,
right.
many years ago.
What I'm trying to say is, somehow, if I look at the leitmotif in your films, including Tzipi Livni, is what we're talking about. Struggle, most of the time, is women.
But it's more from the human point of view, Ronnie.
Yeah, right.
Ronnie, when you deal with things, you mainly look at the human point of view. You look at things from humanity, and some of them take place in the political world. Some of them take place in the health system. Some of them take place in the educational system. The systems are very similar. It's the same society.
Right.
The human point of view is very personal. When you put both of them together, you have a very different way for each one to handle. So basically, it's a pile up of different way of looking at things, and you just see the humankind through your eyes in certain situations, which this is life, that's okay. Yeah. Now, how do we take all that and we just take the top layer, you squeeze it together, say, okay, now let's use this in order to make a difference and change. So if you take all your stuff and we put it together and squeeze the top, then we can start and create something that would lead us with all these goodies, to
so where do you put, I don't know if it was a film or a television show, sex in sport? Sex in meaning the sport, sex in the world of sport. Can you talk about that? I don't know. Because wait, you were married to one of our famous basketball player who became religious, right? And you have a film, by the way, which has to do, with
the process of
and the matchmaking in religious. Never mind. So I know you had some kind of background. What do you mean by that? But what was it about?
The sex in sport? Well, that was a beautiful, beautiful TV show by the name of Zoom, which they took for each episode, a different director. And they just gave them a title and do whatever you want with it.
And this is what you chose?
And my title was Sex in Sport. They chose it for me.
Ronnie, I'm like, okay, so what side of your personality? I don't know. A lot. Okay, so what did you do there? What did you do in this episode?
Well, the thing was, sex in sport was all about how men in sport are considered to be very manly men, very straight, very
so gender, not gender, sex in terms of, you see me. I waited for some kind of pitch of case, sex.
No, but it goes there. Wait,
speak about gender.
Wait a minute. It goes there. But then it goes to how would you ever see on the street or in any, normal social, whatever event, you would never see men hugging, kissing on the mouth, jumping on each other, like touching each other's asses. But in a game of football, for example,
Yes.
oh my God, what do you see?
Yes. Oh, wow.
Right?
I agree with
Like,
you.
the stuff like
I
that,
agree
or
with you.
how
I agree with
men are, you know, and the sports cars, and just generally the
The whole
connection
physical
between
point.
men and sport is very physical, which they would never ever allow themselves to do in public anywhere else. And it also goes for the fans, which would, you know, I mean, maybe not as the player would jump on each other's asses, but they allow themselves
But nobody would say they're gays. That's
none.
none.
If you would do
What
any
forbid
kind
you're
of
gay?
something like that in the
And
real
they cut your
world,
tuches. Yeah,
can
yeah.
you
No,
imagine?
unbelievable. So that's what
I
you
mean, like I knew from my basketball husband, every time their friends saw each other, there's always like chapping on the butt. There's always like hugging in ways that they're very, very close, always touching each other's parts. I'm like, what's going on there?
Yes.
How is that okay in your locker room? But when everybody's naked, by the way, and it's not okay as soon as you go out to anywhere else.
You remind me
And how
that when
come
I went to the
others are
Knicks.
not?
I went to the Knicks game once and I sat
Yeah.
very close and somebody was fighting behind me. And the first thing I did, I ran to the floor of the players and I only got to them, and I don't want to say until where. You know, they couldn't hug me. What do you mean hug me? They couldn't even, they wanted to. That was really,
It would have
also when I
been
go with
weird.
Tzili, it's like this, you know, Tzili, look at the watch. We didn't even feel, and we didn't, anyway.
We'll do another one.
But I really want to make sure that we understand that you, I don't know if I envy you or not. It's too much for me to think about it in those terms, but the range of subjects that you covered, and you also did video, musical videos, right?
Love it. That's my favorite.
You did children's stuff, right?
Also,
Yeah. Yeah. And comics, something that based on comics.
Bang was one of my favorites.
She's all over the place.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm happy that you are still, you know, younger than, older than me, but still you have a lot of years to expand, right?
Once you get this department,
I'm not. Yes. So listen, Tzili,
for the next new best thing.
We enjoyed it very much. I don't know about you, but
I enjoy you very much.
We have to finish with a call to the women of the, it's like in Malkot HaYofi.
The
pageant. Are you calling it?
The beauty pigeon.
The message,
the
message to the world.
Message to the world peace. But in this case, it will be women.
Look what you two do now.
What?
You do the same.
Exactly. You're right.
You're putting down all these girls right away.
No, I'm picking up from them.
No.
We want to be on the stage, central stage, voicing our voice.
With bathing suits.
I will be with the Houdini.
By the way, that might make a change because it will
put a lot of attention. Okay, girls, that was, I hope you enjoyed it like us. We enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Ron.
And you also told me a few things about myself that I didn't realize because I never analyzed everything that I did. So thank you for that. That was very nice.
And thank everybody who came, and see you next week. Conquering the world.
Bye.
Bye.
Amen.